Every month, Netflix pulls money out of your account. But how much of that actually pays for the shows you love? And how much disappears into everything else? In today's video, we're breaking down your subscription penny by penny to see where it really goes. Because once you see how Netflix actually spends your subscription, you'll understand why some shows get unlimited seasons and why others get axed after one. This is the Finance Files of Netflix. Before we follow your money, we need to understand Netflix like a business. At its core, it's simple. Netflix sells access to a library of films and shows for a fixed monthly fee. No ads on most plans, no pay-per-view, just a flat subscription. Most of Netflix's revenue still comes from people paying for monthly access to its library, with a growing slice from things like its ad-supporter tier, licensing deals, games, and other side projects. By the end of 2024, Netflix had over 300 million paying subscribers worldwide, and they added another 18.9 million, which is a record in the final quarter alone. That helped them pull in around $39 billion in revenue for the year, up nearly 16% from 2023. When Netflix wants to grow its income, it has a few options. Bring in new subscribers, charge more through price rises or plan upgrades, and layer new revenue streams on top, like ads, licensing, and games. Netflix operates a lot like a gym membership. The gym doesn't earn more if you show up every day. It earns when you keep paying next month and the month after that. So it upgrades machines, adds new classes, refreshes the place, not out of love for renovations, but because a stale gym gets canceled. Netflix works the same way. New shows, big releases, better recommendations, and smoother streaming are its new equipment, all designed to stop you quitting. Let's roll it back to the beginning. Where does your $17.99 membership actually go? Well, let's break it down slice by slice. So, the biggest slice by far is the content. In 2024, Netflix spent roughly $17 billion on content. That's buying the rights to existing films, paying writers, actors, and directors, building sets, doing visual effects, everything it takes to get something watchable onto your screen. These days, the vast majority of that budget goes into Netflix's own original content, a choice made with a long-term plan in mind. Originals give Netflix control. They can release them globally, keep them on the platform for as long as they like, license them out if they want to, and use them to attract new subscribers without worrying that a rival studio will pull the rights. Next, the part nobody really sees, technology. Data centers and cloud bills. Engineers who build and maintain the app. The recommendation system that figures out what to show you next. The streaming tech that quietly adjusts quality to match your Wi-Fi. It all falls under the umbrella of tech. And the money spent on tech isn't pocket change. Netflix has made it clear that technology is a big and important investment for them, with figures surfacing around $3 billion a year for just running and developing the platform. That tech spending is non-negotiable for Netflix because reliability is the product. The moment Netflix stops feeling effortless, when shows buffer, the app freezes, or search feels broken, your subscription suddenly feels optional. And with Disney+, Amazon Prime, Apple TV+, and more just one click away, staying ahead on tech, and thus the competition, isn't a luxury. It's a must for Netflix. After technology, there's marketing. Every trailer on YouTube, every billboard, every bus ad for the latest big show, that's marketing. And you're helping pay for it. Netflix doesn't just advertise to non-members, it advertises to you as well. Top 10 lists, autoplay previews, coming next week banners, push notifications. They're all designed to keep Netflix at the top of your mind. Netflix's marketing department effectively has two jobs. Bring in new people and stop current subscribers from leaving. Because in streaming, the hardest part isn't getting someone to try a free month. It's to get them to pay and then continue to pay every month after that. Now on to debt and finance costs. For years, Netflix didn't just spend what it earned. It borrowed, and it borrowed big. Not because it was on life support, but because it was racing to build a content library big enough to hook the whole world before anyone else caught up. Borrowing works out like a shortcut. You get the shows now, and you pay the bill later, which means part of your monthly payment goes to servicing those old decisions, effectively paying interest on yesterday's shows. By the end of 2025, Netflix was estimated to owe $17 to $18 billion in debt, with more than $14 billion of that sitting as long-term obligations. That sounds huge, but in context, it's less scary than you might have initially thought. Rivals like Warner Bros., Discovery, and Disney carry even larger debt loads relative to their size. And while Netflix's strategy of borrowing was criticized heavily early on, it has now shifted into a phase where its profits and cash flow comfortably cover those obligations. In other words, it's not about to go bankrupt tomorrow because it funded Stranger Things on credit. Now on to the final slice of the pie, which is, of course, profit. Whatever is left of the money pool after content, tech, marketing, and debt is profit. In 2024, Netflix brought in roughly $8.7 billion in net income. And while the final numbers for 2025 aren't out as of recording this, forecasts suggest Netflix could push that towards the $10 billion mark, close to a 20% increase. You might be wondering what happens to that juicy profit. Well, some of it gets reinvested into more content and better technology. Some goes into buying back shares and rewarding investors. Some helps pay down the debt built up during those heavy investment years. Essentially, every penny is invested with one simple goal in mind: keep the machine running by keeping shareholders happy and, crucially, keeping you subscribed. So given such great numbers by Netflix in recent years, why do so many of your favorite well-written shows keep getting canceled? The answer lives inside how Netflix makes decisions. Netflix doesn't just think of shows as art. Inside the company, every series is a row in a spreadsheet. How many new subscribers a show attracts, how many it stops from canceling, and how much it costs to produce. These are all important metrics when Netflix decides what lives and what dies. If a show is relatively cheap to make and lots of people finish it, it's a dream. If it's extremely expensive and only a niche audience watches, it's a problem, even if it's a 10 out of 10 for that niche. This is why your favorite cliffhangers often go unresolved. The moment a show's production cost outweighs its ability to bring in or keep enough subscribers, the plug gets pulled. It's a ruthless numbers game that favors bingeability over brilliance. In recent years, Netflix has quietly purged dozens of originals as part of a strategic pivot. Fewer shows, but ones that reliably drive engagement. Quality over quantity. Well, kinda. In practice, that means investing more in what people already binge, and less in risky experiments that might only delight a smaller crowd. On top of all that, Netflix has changed the way it makes money from you, not just by nudging prices up, but by rewriting the rules of how you're allowed to watch. In recent years, Netflix has been cracking down on ways people are just trying to avoid paying membership, specifically by password sharing. For years, Netflix quietly tolerated people sharing accounts across households. But in 2023 and 2024, that changed. Extra members now cost extra, with some people told they must get their own subscription entirely. The result? In the final quarter of 2024 alone, Netflix added a record 18.9 million new subscribers, with napkin math that accounts for hundreds of millions of dollars in extra recurring revenue unlocked by a policy change. Then there's the ad-supported tier. In late 2022, Netflix launched a cheaper plan with ads at around $7.99 a month. It let people pay less upfront, but lets Netflix earn again on the back end from advertisers. The ad plan has scaled quickly, with tens of millions of people using it globally, and ad revenue moving into the multi-billion-dollar range over the next few years. Run the numbers and you start to see the logic. A viewer on a cheaper ad tier who watches regularly can end up being worth as much or even more to Netflix than someone paying full price for an ad-free plan. Netflix wins either way. It's also no secret that Netflix has moved beyond the Hollywood-only mindset. Netflix has poured serious money into finding and developing stories from non-English speaking markets and pushing them to a global audience. Shows like Squid Game or Spanish heist dramas pull in blockbuster-level attention without Hollywood blockbuster-level production costs. By turning local hits into global phenomena, Netflix has rewritten the streaming playbook. The next must-watch series is just as likely to come from Seoul or Madrid as it is from a backlot in Los Angeles. And for Netflix, that's not creative diversity. That's a better profit margin. So what does this actually mean for you as a subscriber? First, your subscription is a vote. When you watch, rewatch, or finish a show, you're signaling that this is the kind of content Netflix should spend more money on. Second, expect the rules to keep moving. Prices, password policies, ad tiers, these are all dials Netflix can turn whenever growth slows or investors want more. Third, remember that every subscription is a trade. You're swapping part of your monthly budget for entertainment and convenience. So it's worth pausing every so often and asking, is what I'm actually watching worth what I'm paying? In the end, Netflix is playing a money game, but so are you. Now that you know how Netflix spends your subscription, you can decide whether you're getting your money's worth or just funding someone else's binge.